So we're going to go straight to Amnesty International researcher for Ethiopia and Africa, Fisseha Tekle. Could you take the floor now, please? Fisseha.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for EEPA for organizing this important webinar about the hostility which is going on in Tigray since November 2020, and now it's more than 7 months or close to 7 months since the conflict has started, and we are seeing that in addition to the massacre which is taking place in Tigray, the religious element is becoming more visible, and it is having an effect on both the concrete and the soft heritage in Tigray. And that is clearly related to the right to religion in different ways. So you might remember that Amnesty International has documented serious human rights violations that took place in Aksum, starting from 19 November that continued up to 30 November. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. What we have documented was shelling during the battle for occupation. It was not a battle as such. It was just shelling before capturing the town of Aksum, the city of Aksum, and followed by a series of killings, extrajudicial killings or executions, and which culminated in mass extrajudicial executions on 28 and 29 of November in Aksum. So the shelling has affected the civilian population. People have been killed. Civilian institutions were targeted during that shelling. But in addition to that, what we have seen in that Aksum massacre report is that the serious disregard for the religious rights of the people, even after they killed them. What we saw is that people were killed on 28th in Aksum during the fight and after the fight, especially the Eritrean soldiers going home to home, house to house, taking out the young and adult male residents of the town. And even after killing them, they were not allowing the families to collect, to clean, and bury them according to their religion. People and priests were not allowed to hold the funeral prayers, or what we call in Ethiopia Fisseha Tekle, or in English it is equivalent to requiem. All the religious rites were denied. And in a situation that looks like a war situation, people were buried, forced to bury them in collective funeral grounds. A number of people were buried in one hall, in Arbaatun Society in Aksum, and also St. Michael Church. The dead bodies were collected. 5 people, 6 people were buried in one hall, grave hall. So this is a serious disregard for the religious rights of the people in Ethiopia, whether Orthodox or Muslim. There is a religious element to the funerals. There is prayer, there is cleaning, there is graveyard blessing. All these things were violated. But that's not the only thing which we have seen in Aksum. We have seen the same trends in other places, in similar massacres in Tigray. We have seen that in Takaze, for instance, there is a bridge, a Tekle bridge, just after Adigoshu, when you are coming from western Tigray to central Tigray, there is a Tekle bridge. On 16th of January, the Amara Special Forces killed close to 50 people, but maybe more than that. And they killed Tigrayans collected from the town of Adigoshu, and they left them there. They killed them in execution style, and they left them there, and they were not buried up to March and April, and we are not even sure if they are now buried. So everyone who crossed to central Tigray from western Tigray through the Tekle bridge have seen the bodies of those people, and while we are talking, they were decaying and rotting. They were giving bad odor. And the same thing in Bora, southern Tigray, in southern part of Tigray, which is close to Amhara region, in Wagimrat, the Wagimrat zone of Amhara region. There was a fighting just a day after Ganna, the Ethiopian Christmas. And after the fighting, the Ethiopian soldiers went home to home in Bora town and killed people. But they were not allowing people to bury them. It took them more than 24 hours for them to collect the bodies and to bury them. Actually, the families were not allowed to collect the bodies. It was the Ethiopian soldiers who sent a lorry to collect the bodies and took them to the nearby church. And I can mention other places, but I want to mention the Salaklaka killing in April. In Salaklaka on April 3rd, just after the Juma prayer in the main mosque of Salaklaka, the Eritrean soldiers killed at least three people, as they finish and leave the premise of the mosque. Juma, Friday, the Friday prayer is the most important ritual of the Muslims, and they went there after finishing them, when they were just starting to trickle out of the compound of the mosque. The Eritrean soldiers killed two brothers and another cousin of them, and they didn't allow them to bury them. According to the Muslim ritual, people have to be buried immediately, but they didn't allow them. And finally, they have to do the burial during the night, because the Eritrean soldiers were guarding the graveyard, the Muslim cemetery in the town. So I'm just giving you an example. So denial of burial rites, denying immediate burial of bodies is observed. And I just want to highlight what happened in Waldiba, western part of Tigray, now which is under the Amhara region. More than 200 monks were forced to leave the monastery. This monastery has been there since the 5th century. It is more than 1,000 years since this monastery has been there. And the Tigrayan monks were forced to leave that area. So yeah, let me stop there. But we are seeing that this serious violation, in addition to the casualties, massacre, which might amount to crimes against humanity and war crimes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Fisseha. And I know, sadly, you could keep going, but time is not with us. And again, thank you and people can follow up with you if they so desire later.